Hello, my loves. I'm Ellie Frost, and I'm a strategist and healer for visionaries who want to live their most purposeful and abundant lives, right? And I want to talk today about setting the bar higher for your life, right? So often we think things are just the way they are, or we don't take any time to look at, like, what do I want my standards to be? Right? I was talking to someone yesterday and we were talking about some of the things that they were worrying about, right? And the thing is, I was saying, sometimes the things we're worrying about are because something inside of us wants more, right? It's not because I need to meditate and breathe. Yeah. You need to do that too, right? Relax your nervous system. But what I'm saying is, say I'm worried about money. Say I'm worried about, there's some things that we worry about just because we care and, we don't need to change. But there are some things that we worry about because inside of us, we want more in our life, right? And you could say that maybe the universe sometimes has given us certain problems to push us into more. Yeah. So many of us wait for something really big to happen before this is why people have rock bottoms, right? I've had several rock bottoms in my life and I don't want the rock bottom to be the reason that I expand. Yeah. But for so many of us, it is. And we all love those stories, don't we? The rags to riches stories, and I've got them myself, so, they're great stories, but, the bigger question is, how do we avoid having to hit rock bottom? How do we avoid having to get really stressed out? How do we avoid, going through all that? Because we don't have to. And what I would say is that most of us do not listen to ourselves, myself included. Most of us make our desires wrong, right? So we look at something and go, that's not for me. Or we look at someone else's life and wish we had it, but resent it or get jealous or have to say something. I'm not saying we're nasty people, but, we might poo-poo it a bit, rather than understanding or getting in touch with what's in our heart. I also teach a lot about, if you want to manifest stuff, you've got to get heart connected to it. So sometimes we are not dreaming big enough. Because if something is really connected to your heart, I promise you can bring it about faster than you can possibly imagine, right? That activation between your mind and your heart is so important, right? And this isn't just woo-woo, this is scientific as well as quantum physics. But what I'm saying is, if your desire and you feed that desire gets you excited enough, you will be motivated. Motivation does not have to be something you discipline yourself into, right? I don't work on motivation in myself. I don't even work on discipline. I work on fueling my desire, right? I work on getting very heart connected to it, because then it just becomes automatic to do the things that get me there. Then it's not a hassle. Then it's not a chore. Then it's not something that I procrastinate over. Right? So when we actually set bigger standards for our lives and get into our bigger vision, right? And not just, dream it and visualize it, but actually get activated into it, which means emotionally charged, heart connected. There is no stronger force in the universe. This is how the people you see do extraordinary things. And you think, how did they do that? They were activated on a heart level, right? That energy is the most powerful energy I've ever known in my own life, in other people's lives, and it creates miracles in the universe. It glitches the matrix. It makes the extraordinary possible and happen. So this heart activation, and I did that video, I think 2 days ago, where I was talking about my friend who was buying a house. And when she was buying the house, she said to me, yeah, I'm not going to get excited. And I said, why aren't you going to get excited? And she said, well, I'm not the best candidate, right? And so if I get excited and I don't get it, I'm going to be really hurt. And I said to her, if you don't get it, you're going to be hurt anyway, right? So get really excited, because that energy will give you the biggest chance of manifesting this quicker into your life, right? And if you're going to get disappointed, it's going to hurt either way. So stop trying to protect yourself from that. So we know that human nature is we will do much more to avoid pain as human beings naturally than we will to go towards pleasure. What does that mean? It means that most of us are trying to protect ourselves and defend ourselves against what could be wrong, and we're focusing on that rather than getting connected to our hearts, which I talk about a lot, and going towards our dreams. The stuff that would light us up, that would give us life force, that would energize us. You know, so many people say to me, well, I've got all these responsibilities. I mean, I work with all sorts of people, single mothers, people with all sorts of challenges, health, all sorts of things, right? There's often lots of reasons why we think doing something new would take more time or more energy. What you have to understand is when you follow your heart, you are on fire. You're energized. So you will have so much more capacity to do the things you want, right? When we are playing in like lower energy stuff we don't really want. I mean, obviously there's responsibilities. There is stuff you have to do, we all have to do in our lives to get things done that need to be done. But we need enough stuff that engages us, that activates us, that challenges us, that inspires us, right? Because that is like fuel and fire to your soul. The energy you will have will surprise you. You will get out of bed differently. You will approach things differently. Nothing will seem like a problem in the old way when you're heart activated. It's the most powerful place we can be, and we become more vibrant. We become more energized. We become more alive, right? So what you think you can do in your sort of, for a better word, lower vibrational state, when you're trudging through life, you know, and everything seems like, oh God, one more thing I couldn't take on, right? When you nourish what I'm talking about, you will take on much more and have much more time on your hands and much more space and much more energy, right? So we want to look at what energizes us. We want to look at what lights us up. Not only does it make us feel good, but it increases our capacity to expand. I'm going to run a course soon, well, it's not a course, it's a live event that will be a course that you can keep. And it's going to be called Identity Shift. And it's all about getting in touch with that bigger vision, activating you in that bigger vision, becoming the person that naturally has that bigger vision. And so that you have the plan and action strategies to do the things you need to do to become it now. Right. So if you're interested in that, let me know. I haven't got a launch. It's probably going to launch in March. But anyway, thank you for being here. Lots of love. I'll speak to you soon.